G'day guys, and welcome back to another video. In today's video I'm going to be explaining how I utilise live technology when trolling for Murray Cod in summertime. First of all, I'm going to run you through the gear that I'm using. Now I'm going to do a little bit of voiceover as we roll through. You'll see the LiveScope screen pop up on the screen here, and I'm going to actually do some commentary as we go, because it's pretty difficult to commentate out here when the wind blows up and things like that on what we're actually seeing on the screen, and it can all happen very quickly. So you'll probably see me, won't see me so much, you'll see the screen, and I'll sort of walk you through what we're seeing. But before we actually get into starting those recordings and things like that, I'm going to run you through the gear that I'm using as far as sounders and things like that. So I'm running the 8412 SXV head unit up the front with the LVS34 transducer. It is on a DRF pole. Unfortunately, you can't make them anymore, but there is heaps of pole manufacturers out there now which are really good. Out here with the boys will probably troll hard bodies. I'll probably troll a spinnerbait. I like the spinnerbait, especially if I'm going to be using that live sonar, because I can actually watch that spinnerbait for a lot of the time. I can work it up and down the contours and work it up over a tree, or if I see a fish sitting up a bit higher, I can actually wind it up and get it over the top of him. So that's it. I've got a 84/16 in the dash here, and I will run that with my side down and sonar all the way, all the time, because that also will help me gather a heap of information. I think that's really handy. I don't need to see two versions of the LiveScope screen sitting from the helm here. You can see I'm sort of sitting at the wheel, and I've got the 8412 up front, and it's actually folded down and just sitting facing me flat onto the deck there, and I can see enough out there to be able to see what I need to. I don't need to see my lure every second of the day. It's more just a bit of a guide, so I can, just sort of watch things as they're happening. But it's really cool when you see those fish come up and shape up to the back of a spinnerbait or back of a hard body. It's really cool to see them. You'll see them, sometimes they'll be facing the opposite direction and they'll roll up and turn the other way out of a rock, or you'll see them roll out of a tree or something like that, and it's really cool to watch. The boys absolutely love it. Being able to see the action, what's happening and those sort of things. You actually get a lot more follows from cod of all sizes than what you might think. So if you're on the right sort of stretch of bank and things like that, you're probably getting followed the more fish than you know about, because since we've been doing this technique, running the live sonar while we're trolling, we've seen heaps of action, and it's really cool. This is the front end of the boat here. So I've got the pole here, and you'll see my transducer runs in that direction there. So it shoots, it's actually a little bit out of whack, it shoots right down the back of the boat. So it's shooting a beam 26 metres out the back of the boat. The other option you can do is actually mount your pole, or put another mount over next to your helm, next to your back seat, and that way you don't have to worry about clearing the underside of the boat or clearing your petrol motor. I've got a transducer mount on here that allows me to flip it for perspective and all that sort of stuff. My pole setup, it's actually quite deep in the water, so it actually shoots underneath everything and doesn't really affect the image. So that's why I've just got it stuck up here at the moment. It probably would be pretty convenient if I did have it on the rail, but I don't troll a lot. I don't troll heaps, and I've just been running it this way because that way it's nice and versatile. I can do any which way. But yeah, so that's my pole. My transducer beam is shooting out the back, so it's shooting back towards the lures. I basically shoot it pretty much, it lines up with about 20 metres behind the boat is dead centre where that pole's going, where that transducer beam's going to hit. That way we get to see a glance of each one of the lures, including my spinnerbait and the boys' two hard bodies as well. So they usually run somewhere between 15 and 20 metres behind the boat, depending on what depth we're running in. So we line that one up there, we tighten him off, and he points out the back and shows us these images. And that's my sounder down there on the floor. That's the 8412, and that's the way it sits. I sit at the helm there, I can see over the top of the dashboard and straight into that screen. It's sitting nice and flat. Everyone in the boat can see it, so they can all watch what's going on if they need to. More often than not, it's actually me. It says, oh, check this out, we've got to follow from a fish. So we might roll into a few. I've got some few sort of stock images and things like that, so I'm just going to roll into a few of them now. It's some really exciting stuff in amongst all that. It's really cool to see the way some of these fish react and some of the bites that we get. So we'll roll into that now, and obviously you're going to get to see our session out here. Hopefully we can get ourselves onto a fish, and hopefully I can show you guys what that looks like trolling hard bodies or spinnerbaits using Garmin LiveScope. Very early on in the morning we had our first glimpse of a Murray Cod. Now you can see there's two lures sitting back there. Where are we? Just going to pause. There's actually three. So I've got one here, 2, 3. That's my spinnerbait. It's the deepest. It gets down the easiest. That'll be one of the hard bodies, and that is the other one that the boys are trolling. Roll him along there. You can see we're sitting at about 4 metres down because it is before 6 o'clock in the morning. Pause right there. See here? That there is a Murray Cod. He is sitting at the base of that standing tree. He's roughly 4.5 metres down, and I'm just about to come across him with this lure here. We're going to roll into this. This is not what you want to do. You can see the lure there? It's almost below him, one just above him. We're just going to go back just a touch. You got one lure there coming above his head. It's probably still a little bit close, but this one is a no-no. You do not want to have your lure running underneath that fish. In fact, it runs into him. Bang, fish spooks. You see him bolt, disappear. My lure half grabs hold of the tree and then keeps rolling, and you'll see there, that's him rolling up out of the bottom cover. He's actually going to go and settle right back into where he started. You can see him sitting there right there. That is not what you want to do. You do not want to be presenting your lures below the fish at all. If I had been paying attention, I would have dragged that lure up and over the fish and run through that way. But as it turned out, it actually hit the tree, so it probably didn't matter too much. While we're on a freeze frame here, you can see up the top here, we've got a yellow belly sitting up in amongst that tree. He's not going to pay attention to our lures that are cruising down below. You can see that fish sort of settled back in that spot back there. We'll keep rolling through. That is not how you want to do it. Here we are back earlier in the season, and you can see I've got a Murray Cod on the screen right here, cruising on the bottom. That's my spinnerbait coming there. He sees it, hears it, knows it's there, doesn't like it. He's off, he's gone to hide on the bottom. We see that a bit. We see that happen a bit. That is a very big offering, a big spinnerbait. These are small redfin flying up, and here is another Murray Cod. This is an example of what it looks like when you're on the right bank, the right stretch. If you're using LiveScope, you want to be seeing fish like this, pretty consistency. While I've been chatting, you might not have noticed, but I've actually dragged my spinnerbait right up to make sure I get above that fish. These are redfin spraying up. The fish is just here. Watch this. Bang, he's turned. That's caught his attention. He's now making his way underneath so he can come and hit it, and pulls away just in the last second. That's a cool clip though. That shows the difference between two reactions from two different fish, and also a great example of what it looks like when you're on the right bank. That's two fish in the same screenshot. It's a very narrow beam, you're not seeing a whole lot, and they're both there in that same shot. So pretty cool stuff. This one here is an example of what a hookup looks like. Now I've spotted, I'm just going to freeze there, this mark here. Now that doesn't look like a cod to me. It looks like it's probably yellow sitting on top of what is, you know, a submerged bit of shrub. You know, it could be an old wattle tree or something like that, that this guy's sitting above. And I know that there could be a fish sitting in here. So here's my lure running above that there. This is from back when I was running the LVS 32 transducer. We're just going to roll on. This is pretty cool. So see this guy here, go, cool, yeah, it could be a small cod sitting sideways. Watch what happens here. My lure rolls over, watch this. Look at this guy. That is a solid cod. I think he went 80 odd centimetres. I've just given it away what actually happens. Bang, he's hooked up there. Really, really cool. You can see him fighting his way through there. Here is another laid down tree coming up here, and another good cod sitting on that right there. Another good example of what it looks like when you're on the right bank. We're just going to go back and have another quick look. So lure is there. Right, the fish, this cod is sitting in here somewhere. This is not the cod that eats this lure. Roll through. This fish, what does he do? Nothing. Probably a yellow. This guy goes, what is that? I'm on that. Comes up for a look, shapes up to it, gets below it, crunches it just out of shot just there somewhere and goes berserk. Like I said, that was a fish of about 80 centimetres, and they do know how to fight, especially in the summertime. You can see there from the temperature up the top corner there, top left, 24.5 degrees. That's Blowering Dam at 5 to 6 in the morning. Jumping back to our session now, we are on the water. You can see there on that sounder, it is just before 6 o'clock, and we are cruising along from point to point. We'd noticed the afternoon before, we didn't catch any fish the afternoon before, but we had collected a whole heap of information which told us the most active locations were points of about 45 degrees with a bit of standing timber around, and we'd noticed fish sitting at about 6 metres from the surface. So we know our target depth is going to be 6 metres for our lures, and we know the most productive spots are going to be those points with a little bit of scattered timber. You don't want really thick timber when you're trolling, I don't think anyway, because it's really, really snaggy. I've got two kids that are both trolling hard bodies with great big 2.0 trebles on them, so I don't need to be snagging all day, and neither do I. It's going to take away from our fishing time. It's really not all that productive. So check this out. We'll roll into our session. You probably won't see us jumping from point to point, but that's basically what we do throughout this session.
Was that a cod?
No.
That was when I had that really big red. There's one. Yeah, that one.
So my spinnerbait about to go over him?
Yeah.
And your lure? Definitely looks like one on the side scan. Or down scan, I should say. Picked him up on the sonar and the down. Getting bombarded all of a sudden. There's his mate.
Damn, there's two. Oh, he's gonna eat.
That's what it is, little red flipper.
Buddy. You sang happy birthday and already got the sparkles.
Is it his birthday?
No. He's just asleep on the couch. He started going like,
No, no fid.
That is on this, yeah, let it go, and then the natty normally put it on his toes, someone burn his toes.
Oh, yep, fish on, absolutely jammed. Oh boy. Oh, he's in the tree. Oh, this feels like a good fish too. I was just looking at the side scan, going, geez, that looks like a nice tree there. I think there's a fish sitting in that, and I've just got absolutely nailed. I did not see that on the LiveScope. This feels like a nice fish. He's still in the timber, but I've still got him. Oh, that was a good hit. Excuse the wind. I think you might have swum out of it. There he is. Oh, nice fish. Nice fish. Oh, damn. That is not the size of summer fish that I was actually expecting to catch. That is a big fish.
Is that a meter?
Oh, I don't know, it's going to be pretty close. Be well into 90s. Got him.
Oh yeah, that's a meter.
Alright, just sit him there. We've got to be quick because he does not want to be up here. Wow. That's not the sort of summer fish that we're actually out here chasing. This is a big fish. Good job, Dill. Let's have a look at him, eh? That is not typical summer cod trolling. Oh my goodness. Oh wow. That's a summer metery. It's got to be super quick. Holy smokes, mate. On the big gut spinnerbait. I've got hold of that jaw, if you could just drag that net out there. Oh, just chipped in the face. Okay. What have we got?
One and all.
Oh, mate, that is absolutely unreal. Just gotta try and get him down here. Oh. Man, they are so powerful in summertime. He is absolutely ripped through that glove. Oh, wow. I'm sorry that we didn't actually get to see that one on the LiveScope, but as you've seen, that's pretty much how we use it. It's really good. You can see it sort of roll, you know, the lures roll up and down. You can wind them up and set them down, especially with those sinking lures. You can also see the boys' hard bodies as well, but he's absolutely ripped me, that fish. What a beauty. What was he? 1.9 meters. Monster. We were out here thinking we might get somewhere between sort of 50 to 80 centimeters. Obviously that is a, you know, that's a reasonably big presentation. That's a 1.5 big guts. I've actually got a couple of chin weights on that. It allows me to get nice and deep close to the boat, so that when I am running the LiveScope, I can see him a little bit easier. So he's got a 6-inch cast plastic attached to that one. So it's a big presentation, but it's more about the draw of that presentation that will draw any size fish out than actually targeting a big fish specifically. So, oh, I'm really the happiest thing for me about that is the fact that that fish was so happy. He swam off so strong. I couldn't hold him. He rolled out of that thumb. It's not like winter time where they're a little bit more docile. Summertime they're really fit and healthy, but you've got to be super quick, as we were. Really quick, lure out, get him back in the drink after a quick measure, a couple of photos, and as you've seen, he powered off beautifully. So really happy. But basically that's how we run, that's how we use the LiveScope. We use that live technology to help us out here when we're on the trawl in the summertime. Cool. How's that, boys?
Awful.
Worth a 5 o'clock start, that one.
Yeah.
Lead on. Guilty. Can you see him? You can actually see him. He's going deeper than where he started.
I knew that was going to be
Yeah. You can see him there, look. That's a healthy release on that fish because he's back down to 9 metres. He definitely wasn't in 9 when I hooked him. He would have been up in 6 or 7. Oh, he's actually coming back up a little bit there again now. That's super cool. How good? Give me some bloody fires. Yes. Now I know I just said that I didn't see this fish coming on the sounder, and I didn't, but that doesn't mean that the sounder didn't capture it. So this is the first tree that I was actually looking at thinking, is that a fish up in there? I think it was here. We'll let it roll on a little bit more. You'll see this really bright mark show up. Yeah, so I'm looking up here in this area here going, oh, it looks like a fish sitting up in that. Anyway, we'll keep rolling on. This is where the fish comes off. What's happened is the beam is shot right onto this tree. That's sort of in the center of the beam. This tree here is a little bit off to the side, which is why we didn't get a real good shot at it. But because we're offset slightly off to the side, we don't really see the lures coming into the shot. We don't really see that fish roll out of the tree to come up and eat it. My spinnerbait's just about going to be over the top of him there somewhere. We're keeping an eye on that sounder. Watching. There's one lure up high. Boom, that's the fish right there. All right, let's just roll back a little bit. Do we catch a glimpse? No. So we don't actually see my spinnerbait at all. He's actually eating it there. So he's sort of just mixed up in amongst those trees there. Like I said, the beam hasn't captured him spot on. He's roughly sitting probably just above that 6 metre line. You see him roll out. Bang, he eats it right there. Look at him rage straight back into that tree again. He really hit, and you can see this is the other boys ripping their lure out of the way there. I don't know that we get to see that fish again. And oh, is that him? No, that's another one. We don't see that fish again in that clip. A couple of yellows hanging off those rocks though. One there, one there. This could be a yellow. This is likely to be a couple of small carp. Anyway, pretty cool. So we did actually get to see a very, very small glimpse of that fish as he rips out. He's already on it there, lined it up, just about, bang, hits it there, turns, and he races straight back into that tree. Pretty cool, pretty cool. What an absolute cracker of fish, and we've had a great session. We've only had one bite, but what a monster. That's probably not the sort of fish that we come out here to chase in summertime. I definitely don't specifically chase big fish just because it's a danger to the fish, and a danger because you can kill them through barotrauma and heat stress. So we were really, really quick with that fish, and it powered off. I couldn't hold that thing beside the boat any longer, and it was gone. But before we actually finish up, because we are going to finish this session now, you can see it's about 20 past 9, and we haven't had any fish sort of roll out to follow us at all since that big one. So, which is kind of typical. Murray Cod do like to feed a lot during the low light periods, especially here at Burrinjuck. So just before we finish up, just go through a few of the settings here. So on screen settings, we've got our distance out of 26 metres. As you can see that there, you can run out a little bit further. You could probably get away with being a little bit closer into 24 if you wanted to. It probably makes your lure maybe pop a little bit better, but we usually sit at about 26. And you usually see the lure sitting somewhere around here, 16 to sort of 18 metres behind the boat. Then we've got our gain sitting there at 70%. That's about where I sit my gain regardless of what I'm doing with the LiveScope, if I'm sort of out searching for fish or whatever. And then our depth is at 12 metres. I don't need to show you any more I don't need to shoot any more than 12 metres deep because I'm actually only targeting fish that are sort of 8 metres and higher in the water column. I don't like to fish any deeper than that, like I said, just because it's summer and you've got the whole chance of barotrauma and heat stress killing them. So 12 metres, it just gives us a good sort of perspective on the screen. So 26 by 12, and it just gives us that good shape of fish. You can see them coming up and following the lures and things like that. So that's our on-screen settings, that's our main settings. We'll just go one layer into our sonar setup. You can see there in the appearance, colour scheme is on amber. Our colour gain is running at about 85% there at the moment. Colour limit we don't use at all. We don't know all about layout. Noise reject's high, ghost reject is off, TVG is off. So that's pretty much it. That's pretty much how it goes. That's our on-screen settings, and there's not really much to it. That is basically using Garmin LiveScope to help you when you're trolling.